Hello, good evening. Welcome to the studio. International break, but the football chat goes on. So does the snooker chat. It is going to build to quite a fever pitch over the next few weeks here in Sheffield with the approach of another World Professional Snooker Championship. And I'm delighted to welcome last year's final referee, and he's at the Crucible yet again this year. They've sacked him from the final, but no matter. We still have Sheffield's own Brendan Moore in the studio, a repeat visit. Nice to see you again, Brendan. And a new face for Sheffield Live viewers to this show, but it might not be his first appearance. It might be the first of a few, because Sheffield Wednesday Ladies are coming on strong. They're in 4 finals. Lots of age groups run by this outfit, and they're in 4 finals this coming Saturday. And the first team manager and the chairman of Sheffield Wednesday Ladies is Dave Higgins, who joins us. Welcome, Dave.
Welcome.
It's all finals, isn't it? World Snooker finals, your finals.
Yeah.
You've got 4 of them to look forward to this weekend. Saturday, I think. Yeah?
This Saturday, yeah. That's the junior side of our club. We've got obviously the junior and the senior side, and this Saturday it's the Sheffield Hallamshire Women and Girls Cup finals. I think there's 9 being held from under 9s through to under 18s, and very fortunately we're appearing in 4 of them.
Out of 9? Out
of 9, yes. Our under 10, our little superstars, our under 10s who are about this big, they've had a phenomenal season. I think they kick off at 11:30. We've got our under 14s who've won the league 100%. They've won all 14 games and they're in the cup final. They're 10 o'clock kick-off, and then our under 16s, I think they can finish runners-up this year in the league, and it's their final as well at 11. And then under 18s, they've also had an 100% season, won every game. So
this is
busy day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, and we're going to try and make sure Sheffield United are represented somewhere in this conversation this evening. It was an all-owl show a week ago, but now then, it's a bit of a family affair. Mrs. Higgins, right? She's involved too. Yeah,
she's the brains, to be honest. I'm just the one who likes to have a microphone in front of my face, but she's the brains. She runs our club, Sheffield Wednesday Ladies. She's secretary, but she's also the Sheffield Hallamshire Girls and Women's League secretary, so she's responsible for, I think, about 180 teams. And yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah, I know where you're going.
Where am I going?
She's a Sheffield United fan, yes. Okay. And
how long have you been married?
29 years this year.
Well, there you go. This is how proper rivalry can exist in
we're all
Sheffield.
Right. We just don't talk about it. My lad's a United. Unfortunately, my lad's a United fan as well. But me and my daughter are Wednesday, so it's a 50-50 split.
Remind us who you support, Brendan.
Sheffield Wednesday. My dad's Sheffield United, so we've got split in the family as well.
Yeah, family.
Before we talk snooker, you're having a better time at the moment. You're enjoying life a little bit more.
We are. It's a lot better than the last time I was on. All of a sudden, things are looking up now. Yeah. I mean, you've gone just before Christmas where we're in a relegation battle, and now we're actually in a conversation for playoffs. I can't believe that we're even in the mix.
Even talking about it?
Yeah, we shouldn't be from where we were. I mean, Bruce has done unbelievable. No, I've got to be honest, if I'm on heart, I think it might be just a little bit too much to do in this space of time. But the fact that they're even in the mix, I think Bullen to start with, and then the other guys and Bruce, since they've come in, they've done brilliant. And the fact that we're even in the mix, to me, next season, just do what we're doing now, get up there and thereabouts, and then push on for next season.
Yeah, I think people should curb any disappointments. I wrote a column this week in the Sheffield Telegraph about that I felt just a tinge of sympathy for a winning manager who had 10 matches unbeaten, in the sense that if you don't go up via the playoffs, you can almost have started too well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of building expectations.
I think he's just a month too late for Bruce, unfortunately. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'd like to see him get there, obviously, but I mean, like I say, he's done wonders. If he'd have had even a month extra, who knows what would have happened.
Well, I still think it's an outside shot. However, there are 2 places to target, 5th and 6th, and a gap of only 2 and 3 points, whereas a few weeks ago it was like 9, 10, 11 points to just 1 place in 6th. But Middlesbrough's collapsing form has made...
But the other thing is the fact that we're playing so many of the teams above us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those where we are in a no-lose situation, really, because we shouldn't be where we are from where we were. But the fact that we are, a few good results against Obviously, we've got Leeds and Norwich away, teams like that. But if you can pick up results, who knows? They've all got to play each other as well.
The likes of the Aston Villa game, really big.
Yeah, yeah.
That
they're all
will
big
no
games.
build-up whatsoever, that game. Well, and it is an opportunity to really close the gap even further.
Yeah.
So dare
It'll be
to
good
dream.
running. I'm looking forward
Dare
to
to
it.
dream. It's great that it's still alive. And of course, full-time job for you, former bus driver at one point in Sheffield, 11 years now as a snooker referee, and you get as big a tingle about the approach to the Crucible as you ever did?
Yeah, it's 11 years at the Crucible. This is my 11th Crucible there, but I think I've been doing it 15, 16 years as a job now.
11 at the Crucible, but
this has been my 11th Crucible, but I still love it, whether it's first round, final, whatever round you do at the Crucible. There's no place like it. In sport for me, in sport, just because it's so compact and everything that goes on in there, especially when it goes down to one table, it's just best venue for me anywhere.
Yeah. There's a slight extension to your role with, the transformation in the way some tournaments are held now, shootouts and things like that. Barry Hearn it's a bit like cricket with the T20, isn't it? The way that snooker's become, let's make it quicker and quicker and quicker. Do you feel there's a similarity there? Certain
events, especially like the shootout that you mentioned, I mean, that's over a 4-day period, 128 players that just play a 10-minute match. So you basically, to win the tournament, it's an hour and 10 minutes.
You're scooting around the table, literally.
10-minute match, 15 seconds a shot, 10 seconds for the second 5 minutes. And we've got to be like lightning running around the table. But it's such good fun. I love it.
I can believe that, because no sooner are you fishing a ball out of a pocket and replacing it, the guy's on the next shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar to the competition that they do with the players in the Winter Gardens during the Crucible fortnight, where they get players up against the clock, don't they, to
as
clear
many
the
as
table.
you can in a minute, I think it is, something like that, and they run round. But
I'm going to say, shortly we're going to show a clip of your other role when it comes to these shootouts. Not just a referee, but a compere and an all-round entertainer. I think it's fair to say. But before we do that, the last year's final, and obviously you've done two now. 2014, Mark Selby beating Ronnie O'Sullivan, and then last year Mark Williams' Titanic battle against John Higgins. Of the two, which is the most memorable for you?
they're both memorable for different reasons. 2014 because it was my first World Final. Ronnie, Mark Selby, they don't get much bigger than that. And just the atmosphere. Any atmosphere with a Ronnie O'Sullivan crowd is big.
Yeah.
But then last year, it started off very one-sided to Mark Williams. Monday afternoon, it got to the stage where I didn't even think we were going to get an evening session on Monday. And I think even John Higgins has said that in interviews since then. And then the Monday night is the best session of snooker I've ever been involved in. The comeback, how close it got. Yeah. Just being on the set where you can see John Higgins' family up in one corner, Mark Williams in the other. So all of a sudden you see Mark miss and his family go down. John comes to the table, he misses, his family go down and this family go up. Just to be in that small environment and to see it all happening, it's unbelievable to be involved in it.
I'm sure it is, because those cutaways on TV, and I finals night, the rest of the family, my wife's not particularly interested. I have the lounge to myself. Yeah. That's it. Bottle of red wine, snooker on, and that aspect of it is a great part of the drama, isn't it? The cutaway shots to the families, almost as gripping as the table, but you're so close.
I am, and obviously I'm focused on the table, but you can't help but glance up when you see the families and the friends getting involved. Everybody's involved. But not just the family and friends, the people that are in there, they all get up for it. I mean, Chancery was there last year for the final session on the front row. Yeah. And whether he's been to snooker or not before, I don't know, but just watching him, he's up for it. You can see him getting involved. He was sat right next to John Higgins, and you can see him and the Lord Mayor, and everybody's up for it. And it's just, honestly, if you've never been, you have to go to the Crucible just to witness a session there, because there's nothing like it.
No. And you're surprised when you do, just how close everything seems to be. As you say, you can pick out the faces in the crowd. You ever find it difficult to maintain concentration because of your awareness and this peripheral stuff going on?
Yeah, you can. It's easy to look, especially the two-table situation, because they are that close. Somebody could quite literally just lean over and tap a player on the shoulder. They're that close. And I remember one of the referees a few years ago asking the crowd to turn their earpieces down, and all of a sudden you lose concentration, and instead of getting a ball out of the pocket, they pick the ball up off the table. And that split second of losing concentration is key, and it is so easy to do in that venue for that reason, that everyone's so close. One side you're walking round and your elbow will hit the middle board. This side you're practically hitting the chin of a person as you're walking past, because everybody's so close.
Yeah.
But it just makes it unique. I love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And because it's so quiet, normally just a sweet wrapper being opened, you know, everybody hears it. You know.
Yeah, it's a bugbear of mine.
Sweet
wrappers, Chris. You'll quite often hear me saying, "Put those sweets away." It is a bugbear.
Is that because they don't offer you one?
Yeah.
Mostly. We'll come back to you in a minute, and there's so much to talk about this evening. Dave Higgins, I was looking at your under-16s record the other day. Well, 100% record to complete the season. Played 14 and won 14. They're one of the teams in a final.
I think that's the 14s, but yeah, I think the 14s and 18s have both got 100% records, which they keep.
Was
reminding.
it under 14s?
Under 14s and 18s, yeah, they keep reminding me that they're on 100%, and you know, make sure I tell everybody, you know, it's they're doing very well, both in the final as well.
So your age groups in finals this week, correct me if I'm wrong, under 10s, under 14s, under 16s, under 18s, is that right?
That's right, yeah, because our under 15s won the Shield final 2 weeks ago as well, so that's another little bit of silverware that
so you
we
could
got
have
this
5.
year. I think we could possibly end up with 10 bits of silverware if you talk champions and runners up. I think we had 7 last year. I think that made us the most. I'll get the plug in. I think that made us the most successful girls junior section last year. I think Barnsley were just behind us with 5. But yeah, we're hoping to hit that double figures. You know, why not?
How about long term, and any conversations you've had with the club about where this goes? You know, women's football's becoming bigger and bigger. Massive sponsorship announced yesterday by
Barclays, I think, isn't it? Yeah, 500,000
for the women's Super League. And you'd hope some filter down as well, which I was hoping to hear about tonight, to Sheffield United in the championship of the women's Super League.
I think if I've read it rightly, I think it's at this moment in time there's 500,000 going to be split between the Super League, the top division, for depending where you finish, and they're opening up these football schools, which it's great. I mean, any exposure for women's football is fantastic, and money coming in is fantastic, and I'm sure it will have a knock-on effect. I worry that, you know, not enough of it finds its way down to grassroots level. Sheffield United have done phenomenally well. You know, love it or hate it, but they've, you know, Mr. McCabe put his money where his mouth was a couple of seasons ago. Paid out and put the bid in to get them that place in that second division in the championship as it is now, and they've done phenomenally well. And you know, we all look up to that and think maybe us someday. But you just hope that some of that money gets its way down to grassroots, because that's where it, you know, they say they're going into schools, but I don't think there's a problem getting kids involved with football. That girls love it now. We've introduced under 9s teams for the last 8 years. In fact, the under-18s who've been unbeaten this season, Kyle, who manages that team, he actually came on board with the club at under-9s 8 years ago, and he's got 3 girls in that team that were with him back at under-9. So there's the girls wanting to come in. It's just that money, you know, it's difficult
and
for grassroots.
It mirrors what's happening in the men's game. If you don't have a level playing field, if you've got too much money at the top, all the money's polarised at the top.
That's right, yeah.
It's a problem between the Premier League and the
it's great
EFL.
That it's in the, you know, it's great.
You don't want it to happen in the women's game as well. You know, you do. I was certainly hoping to hear more about Sheffield United's success from Carla Ward, who'd agreed to come on the show tonight, but unfortunately she was withdrawn in the light of news that you may have heard about yesterday, which wasn't on this show's agenda because it's simply to promote the women's game. I will ask you in a moment to talk to me about the professional club Sheffield Wednesday and where they see you possibly in the future. Just before we do that, let's have a quick look at a video. It's only 30 seconds, a 30-second video on the other role that Brendan Moore fulfills on occasions. Prepare to be maybe a little bit surprised if you haven't seen this before. here in the studio. What on earth's going on there? Oh, we don't see you doing that at the Crucible, do we?
I don't get embarrassed by stuff like that. I mean, the MC asked me to get involved, but you can see there, so I get involved. I love the shootout. I love the atmosphere there. For some reason, the people that go and watch took fondly to me, so I just get involved with them, and I got the other refs involved.
All right, that's brilliant. And almost a showbiz compare role in some tournaments, the shootouts, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you either like that sort of thing or you don't. I can't see a team of football referees doing that anytime soon before a final at Wembley.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be doing that at any other event, the Crucible, but we had similar when we did it in Blackpool, then it moved to Watford, which is the new home of the shootout, and the fans love it. There's a few minutes between every match. They play different music. The MC does his part, trying to get them lifted, and I do mine. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't do any other event, but it's an entertainment business.
I gather they even chant your name at crowds at some events.
They do at the shootout. There's a guy from Leeds. He's a Leeds fan, and he's got a Smurf. He called it a Snooker Smurf. He won it on a grabbing machine in Blackpool, and it goes to every shootout event. And he's the guy that actually took that video.
Right. Oh,
so
thank you to him.
Yeah. So they took to me, and I got on with them really well, and they're part of it. They're the guys that shout out the different chants for the colours that go in. Yeah. And if I walk out, they'll start chanting, there's only one Brendan Moore, stuff like that. And it's an ego boost.
Of course.
It's a good laugh. It's a good laugh.
You've become a bit of a showman. I know it doesn't detract from your refereeing, which is well respected. We'll talk later in part 2 about the guy that is refereeing the World Snooker Final this year, who's a Scot. Despite that, I know that you support each other. We'll also talk about the betting. I know you're not allowed to tip a winner, but I've had a look at the odds today. We'll talk about one or two sort of surprises to me in there for this year's tournament. For instance, I mean, the finalists last year are well down the betting to win it at the Crucible this year. But just before we do, you'll be aware, and we all are, and I was going to mention this last week, but I thought this week was a more appropriate time, of the sad passing just recently of the man who brought the then Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship to the Crucible way back in 1977, when I was working alongside Stuart Linnell for Radio Hallam here in Sheffield, and neither of us had a clue about snooker whatsoever. And thanks to Mike, Mike became a tutor for the pair of us. He put the money up, took the risk, promoted the World Snooker Tournament at the Crucible, became an outstanding success, attracted national television. And this is a great guy who, over the years, became a really good friend of mine. And I want to just pay tribute to him, you know, not only for his role in Sheffield's sporting eminence, you know, it's become an institution, Crucible, you know, and snooker, but also he was a keen football man. He was on the board at Derby County, helped save Chesterfield FC at one point, put money in at a difficult time in the club's history. And as a fella too, a lovely guy who brought people like Stuart and myself onto the inside of it. And whereas journalists can have sometimes slightly uneasy relationship with some sports, you know, some managers in football or whatever, it was always very friendly, and all the players were on board with projecting it. And clearly the sport owes a great debt to Mike.
Absolutely. I mean, like, everybody knows the story of his wife going to the theatre.
Carol, yeah.
Yeah, and then telling him that she's seen the perfect venue and how snooker is what it is for today. Yeah.
That's Mike in his absolute pomp as world snooker promoter, with that cherished number plate Q1. I'm not quite. He did tell me once how much he paid for that, but I think he may have sold it. Oh no, I can't quite remember. It would have been worth a few bob. Yeah, Mike Watterson, much remembered and hugely respected. And I really, honestly think there is a case for Sheffield or the snooker authorities to come together and have a statue of that guy outside the Crucible, because he had that big an impact on what's now become a national institution, World Snooker at the Crucible. Right, 10 seconds to the break, and in part 2, lots more, the betting for this year's tournament, much more on Sheffield Wednesday's Ladies, and James Gregg will join us with a roundup. See you then.